welcome back to Y&R For Life, where we talk about all things Y&R related. We talk about what's going on, what do I think is going to happen, my predictions. Hey, we even talk about fashion on this show because I'm a big time fashion girl, so we got to spill the tea about that from time to time. If you're new to this channel, my question is, what took you so long to get here? And if you are returning, what's up? Long time no see. Well, it's been an interesting week. Some highs and lows, some things that really didn't need to be there. But overall, it wasn't as poor as it has been over the last little while. But, I got through it, and hopefully you did too. But before we begin, a couple of disclaimers. If you don't want to know what's going on, you kind of want to get caught up on your own, this might not be what you want to see or hear, but I am so grateful that you are here. And if you like this type of content, you like what you see, you like what you hear, it would be so kind if you hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you don't miss a single video that I post here on Y&R For Life. And lastly, if I happen to not mention anything, like something in particular, it could be because it really wasn't newsworthy or I literally plumb forgot. So we're going to get into it, see where we go. Okay, at the beginning of the week, we saw Audra trying to do her little underhanded Audra way in order for her to swoop in and take Glissade away from Tucker. Now, Tucker made me laugh. Like, the ending of last week, he was allegedly having a heart attack because he was trying to prolong whatever was going to go on with the board of Glissade. So he was trying to stop everything. So the beginning of the week, he's still on the bed. The doctor is looking out for him. And Audra is like, this is ridiculous. You're faking. And Tucker's like, Audra, if I take my last breath, I don't want it. I don't want to see you. Tucker had me in stitches. What made me laugh even more, and I'm sure you did too, was the fact that as soon as Audra exits and leaves, Tucker jumps out of the bed. The doctor's like, shouldn't you be resting or whatever? He's like, no, I'm good. C'est bon. And pays off the doctor. Let me give you some money for your time. Basically giving him a solid, and ushers the doctor right out of the room. Oh boy. So he basically says to his, I don't know if she's his secretary or what she is. I can't remember her name. Was it Donna? I could be wrong. All I know is she has a good number of lines of late. And who knows? She might become a regular. I don't know. So he basically says to her, like, I gotta figure this stuff out and find out where Jack Abbott is. So she basically figures out, or finds out anyway, that Jack is in Paris. How she finds this out so quickly, I don't know. So Tucker's like, well, that's convenient because Audra's here. Why wouldn't he be here? Because Tucker is under the impression that the anonymous purchaser, if you will, is Jack. Once again, I say, Jack over the years has had to figure out where he's getting the money from, whereas Victor, toot sweet, he gets money. So how rich are the Abbotts? I would love to know. I'm just curious because they have this company, but like, how wealthy are they? I'm confused. I dare say the Newmans are like worlds wealthier, but that's just my opinion. Okay, so I was trying to figure out how could Tucker leave his room at the hotel and saunter through the streets trying to locate Jack. And he finds him over at Traci's Traci's place in Paris, like her hotel room. I guess back to the scene of the crime. Well, it wasn't even the scene of the crime because that was Alan's place. Just how Tucker, how did you find Traci? So basically, Traci kind of, I won't say welcomes him with open arms, but Traci's like, yeah, you get like a small reprieve because of what you did for our sister. Now, as an aside, Traci is losing her mind over Ashley and the fact that, you know, with what Alan said about how maybe she had this DID from way back in the day, from like childhood, and that there was childhood trauma. Um, Traci's like, oh no, where, like, I feel sorry for my sister. Could this be true? What? Anyway, she was crying with Jack over this. And Jack just basically was trying to console her, soothe her furrowed brow. And Traci, you know, she wears her heart on her sleeve. But Traci, who knows? Okay, back to Tucker. So Tucker basically finds out that Jack is there. He was on some business call. Next thing you know, Jack's off the phone. He knows that Tucker's there. They have words. Tucker's like, I ain't leaving until, you know, you like fess up basically that you're trying to steal my company from out underneath me. And he's like, what? That is so insane. Like, why would I try and get like a half rate 2-bit company when I have like one of the largest cosmetics companies, you know, I don't know, I don't know, wherever he said he has the largest uh, cosmetics company. I won't say the world, but who knows? So Tucker is still not convinced, but Jack basically said, like, get out of here, like, and don't come back. So Tucker is on the warpath. He's trying to figure this stuff out. Again, he's sauntering back and forth from the hotel, the same hotel that Audra's at. How did she not see him? I'm a little confused. So Tucker ends up back there and he's, you know, trying to still buy some more time. It's really not working in his favor. But what I will say is, by the end of everything, yeah, he basically kind of like waves the white flag and tells Audra that, yeah, she's won. Okay, so basically Audra, she is walking around all nice and fancy free, and she basically, I guess Victor tried to contact her, and she says that there's a snag in the whole board vote. Victor is like, this shouldn't be, and like, let's get this handled, whatever. Somehow we segue to Audra being back in Genoa City. When she got on a plane, I don't know. I'm assuming this is shortly after Tucker said, like, you've won. So Audra's back. She sees Nate at the club, and they have a conversation. And really, not much to tell. She's just talking about how she got glissade and how there's this anonymous person and she's not saying who it is. And because this person wanted to be kept secret and blah, 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 blah. Well, if you can't figure out that it's Victor, like anybody who hears this story, where have you been? Just saying. So Nate's like, well, I guess it is what it is, that kind of thing. And Audra is sitting nice and high and mighty, and she's a happy clam. She ends up going to Victor's place because Victor summons her, saying, as soon as you get back in town, you need to come over and see me. And he basically says to her that he wants her as CEO, but he wants her to work along with Kyle, so that basically Kyle will be the co-CEO. And she's like, oh, but well, Audra, you want to roll with the big dogs? This is what happens. Anyway, she ends up meeting Kyle, and we'll talk about him briefly. And they are at the club, and she basically says to him, yeah, like, we need to work together and for the company, and at the end of the day, we would make a great team no matter like what our differences are and have been and what has happened, blah blah blah. Well, Kyle's being a little like cautious because he knows he's been burned by Audra, which, by the way, Kyle, you kind of brought on yourself. I'm just saying. So Audra basically is like, let's work together and make Glissade this big powerhouse cosmetics company, whatnot. And Kyle is like, well, I don't know. All right. Push forward, because I'm jumping from days of the week, but kind of just grouping the characters together and what has occurred, okay? So you're going to hear some back and forth, but you'll get the gist of the story. So when Kyle was speaking with Audra, in walks Diane, and she overhears Audra basically saying, give whatever I said some thought. And Diane, with facial expressions and all, she's like, what was that about? What does she mean by that? And Kyle was like, you know what? Not much of anything. And she's like, well, I don't trust her. I don't trust her. And you shouldn't either. Like, you should know better. And he's like, I'm grown. You can't tell me who I can hang out with from who I can't. So basically, don't step to me. Like, it is what it is. And Diane is not happy. She's not having this. And she basically goes off on Kyle, and there's some sort of segue, but she goes off on Kyle talking about his, albeit insubordination at work, and the fact that she is his boss. And she can't believe that he's being so open with his disdain for her type thing. And he's like, what are you talking about? You're my mother. I love you. But like, what? So Diane basically is like, when your father gets home, we're going to have a discussion. We're going to have a discussion. And yeah, there's going to be ultimatums going on. So if you can't fall in line, well, and Kyle was like, oh, you don't say. Well, what does this mean? She's like, I'm this co-CEO, and you can't be trying to, undermine me. And there's going to be like consequences, and one of which is termination, getting fired. And he's like, pardon? That's right. See, your father thought that we could work this out together, but clearly we can't. So at the end of the day, you probably will just be fired, and not much you can do about it. So, of course, the wheels on Kyle's bus go round and round, and he's like, okay, well, no problem. Because there's this offer on the table from Victor, which, by the way, Kyle ends up telling Victor, um, I'm inclined to take the position, but only on one condition, that I be the sole CEO of Glissade. And Victor, he's giving it some thought. Um, yeah, see, Audra, you see, oh, what a tangled web we weave. When first we practice to deceive, this is what happens to you. Because I could see Victor just saying, you know what, Audra, you out. You're maybe in the mailroom, but you out. And all what she did would have been for nothing. If anything, it would have been all for Kyle. Just saying. Okay, so we're going to see where that goes, because I think it's pretty evident that Kyle's going to leave Jabot. It won't be on good terms, and he's going to, drop the hammer on the fact that he's now the CEO of Glissade. This is just, again, a prediction. And then, of course, Jack's going to have his face, and Diane with her facial expressions. That's pretty much in my head. That's what's going to happen. How true that is, I don't know, but we shall see. Okay. So let's go back to Traci for one hot second, and let's just finish that off. Her and Alan went out for drinks back at the scene of the crime, where Alan said whatever to Ashley to make her lose her mind. Well, the easy prediction, if you can't see it, is that Traci is a little sweet on Dr. Allen now, because Dr. Allen seems like he's a little sweet on Traci. So after they went, he, took her back to her room. Nothing, there was no kiss, which I thought there would have been, but she left a little, flush in the face when he said goodbye. So I propose that sometime this week or within the next week, Traci and Dr. Allen are going to be doing it, and doing it well. Just saying. All right. So we saw, who should we talk about next? Let's get some of the scene fillers out. Okay, there was the scene filler, well, the whole episode, if you ask me, the whole episode that they did with Nick and Sharon. Yeah, I could have bypassed that one. It didn't need to be there. Unless they're trying to pave the way for another, Schick reunion where Sharon and Nick get back together. But I just don't see that happening. I gotta say, I just don't see that happening. But yeah, we saw Faith come back. She had like darker hair. Looked good on her. And she was upset because apparently Moses broke up with her. And yeah, I gotta say, I felt it for her because of the excuse that Moses apparently gave her. I actually experienced that at one point in time, in full transparency. So I kind of felt it for her. Faith, you'll be all right. You're a beautiful girl. You will be just fine. And Moses will realize what he gave up. Just saying, so here's your virtual hug. You'll be just fine. All right. Yeah, so that episode really didn't need to be there. Anyway, I think that was the main scene filler. Okay. So then let's go to Claire, Victoria. I won't even mention Cole really, because he's not really serving a purpose if you ask me. And Johnny and Katie. So Johnny and Katie come back from their boarding school, whatever, for the summer, and they finally meet Claire, which, by the way, from a fashion standpoint, what the heck was Claire wearing that shirt? Oh my goodness, with the shorts. What was that? I mean, where did they find this shirt? She looks so homely. Ugh. But that's just my opinion. For a young girl to be wearing that just seemed a little odd. Whoever the stylist was on that, they must have had a long night and they didn't realize what was going on. And she herself couldn't defend herself because this is wardrobe, so she got to go with the flow. But my goodness, it looked terrible. The lace and I could go on and on about that outfit. All right. So, yeah, at some point in time, Claire meets up with Kyle. But this is because she left the house and chose to leave the house because little Katie, who's got a little saucy mouth, boy, was she rude. And again, I don't fully trust Claire 100%, but she certainly didn't deserve all that negativity. I mean, Johnny was borderline offensive himself about what was it like being in a mental hospital. So I felt a little bit bad for Claire. But that little Katie, oh my. And the way Victoria dealt with her, it's like, Victoria, you need to throw the hammer down on this. My goodness. She just was straight up rude. But I digress. It really took Victor to basically say that she grew up with nothing, just like he did, in an orphanage, and the fact that she's just looking for a sister, to love, that kind of thing. And of course, Katie was like, really? She is? So now Katie's got like a little bit of her little Grinch heart is starting to like beat a little bigger. But whatever, we shall see. So that's why Claire was out of the place, because she just didn't want to be a part of that. And she just didn't want to come across as, overbearing or whatever. So Kyle tried to soothe her furrowed brow, and eventually Claire had to leave. So not much. All I know is that Katie went off on her sister, and Johnny was borderline, but he held it together and basically said, she's not that bad. Okay. So we'll talk about, okay, so we talked about Claire and Katie and Johnny, that little reunion, because we had like 2 reunions that that this week. Johnny, Katie, I consider them one because they're allegedly brother and sister, and then Faith. Meh. Okay. Lily and Devon with Billy. Yeah, that is a whole set of mess. Okay, but before we talk about them with Billy, let's talk about the fact that Heather, she popped up, and so did Daniel. They popped up, and they were supposed to go into arbitration over this um, video game. With the whole Princess Louisa, whatever. So Lily, she was having like a slight change of heart, but she basically had a full epiphany of changing her mindset where it came to this video game and Omegasphere. And then at the same token, Daniel had this thought where he's like, basically, it's not worth it. So he asked to meet Lily, and the two of them meet up in Chancellor Park, and it's this whole, like, Daniel saying, you can keep it, I don't need it, it's fine, whatever. Lily's like, whoa, I didn't expect that coming. And then basically she ends up saying, oh, well, I was going to give it to you. So what does that mean? So they have figured out that Chancellor Winters will retain Omegasphere, but that there'll be some sort of, I don't know, something toward a fund towards Lucy and her schooling. Okay, like, whatever. So they kind of just left everything, and that was the end of that. So it was from there, that's when she contacted Billy and wanted to meet him. So they met up at Society, and Billy's like, you basically, are you ready to pull the trigger and make this thing happen? So Lily, story short, she agrees. And she's like, on one condition, that Devon can keep Hamilton Winters or whatever, and that she will move with Billy to Abbott Chancellor. Who can keep track of all these names? And Billy's like, yeah, okay. So when they were getting ready to toast to say congratulations, there's Devon. He had sauntered in, and he sees them toasting, and he is like, oh, wait a minute. He runs back to Chancellor Winters, and he tells Nate about this. And he basically says, look, I got to go away with Abby because Abby was reeling over the fact that her mother's in this hospital and she wants to go see her. That's the long and skinny of it. She was all upset because nobody in the family, Newman or Abbott told her what was going on with her mom, and she's like pissed off. So she says she wants to go see her mom, and that's what she told Devon's like, I'll come with you. So Devon basically tells Nate, we're back to them, that he's got to go to Paris, and he wants him to keep a watchful eye of what's going on. Just then, Lily walks in, and she's like, yeah, I got Billy right where I want him, and matter of fact, you might need to rethink your plans about going to Paris because things are about to go down fast or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even have a prediction on that. All I know is that's pretty much what she said. And then Billy goes and tells Jill, And, Jill looks a little weepy because she's going to get the Abbott name attached to the Chancellor name. Whatever. So, did I miss anything throughout this week? I don't think so. Again, as I said, it was kind of up and down, a little bit sleepy here and there. Again, that whole episode of Nick and Sharon, I didn't get why it was even a show in this week. I felt like maybe they just ran out of content and they just, let's do this one and revisit their love, their betrayals, their just madness. But anyway, like I said, if I happen to miss something, it could be I just plumb forgot, or it really just wasn't newsworthy. So that's pretty much the week. We're going to see what next week holds. Hopefully it will pick back up and actually have some meaningful moments. But if you stuck around to the end of this video, I am so grateful. I appreciate your time. I love you lots. And I look forward to putting out more videos for you. Again, I try and put them out on Sunday evenings just so we can end the week off and, ruminate over what happened. But again, sometimes life happens and it doesn't always happen that way. So we're going to see, as I said, we're going to see what happens this coming week. Hopefully there's more vigor, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.